Let me just get this thing fixed. Hold up. Alright. Looks like we're at the right size here. So hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I know I haven't done a video in a really long time, but I feel like at this point it just feels kind of appropriate too because I've just run out of content at this point. We're gonna be doing ranking King Crimson albums. We have S, A, B, C, and D. No E or F though. But we have a pretty good selection of albums here. If you guys don't know, I actually am a huge King Crimson fan. I've just finished the entirety of their studio discography. And yeah, so let's see what we have here. So we have Beat, Discipline, In the Core of the Crimson King, In the Wake of Poseidon, Islands, Lark's Tongues and Aspic, Islands, Red, Starless and Bible Black, The Construction of Light, The Power to Believe, Thrak, and Three of a Perfect Pair. So yeah, this is gonna be a pretty fun one. So if you guys like this video, please do that, and if you want to subscribe, do that as well. I also have a Twitch, so if you want to check that out, that's also in the description. Okay, so future Kyle here. I'm editing right now. After I mentioned Islands, I accidentally called what was supposed to be Lizard Islands, and the reason why is because I am currently stoned as of when I was recording and while I'm editing right now. So yeah, just wanted to mention it. Back to the video. I think for this, what we're going to do is we're going to start from D, then work our way up to C, B, A, and S. Let's see. I already know what I'm going to put for D. Thrak. I am not a fan. I was not a fan of Thrak personally. I mean, I re-listened to it quite recently, and I don't remember a lot of the famous tracks on there. I don't really know. I just wasn't much of a fan of their sound. I don't remember any good songs on there really, with the exception of Vroom Vroom and Vroom Vroom Coda, I guess. But it never clicked with me for some reason. Anything else here? Yeah, that will be about it. That's about it for D then. C tier, I think I'll put Three of a Perfect Pair in there. If we were talking about in the context, talking about the best of the 80s albums, which is Three of a Perfect Pair, Discipline, and Beat, I would probably say Three of a Perfect Pair is the weakest one. Even though with Beat they added some sort of styles like they did back in the 70s with making their songs a little bit longer and more progressive. Whereas with Three of a Perfect Pair, it just kind of rehashes the same thing. It doesn't really do much different with it. So it's still a good album. I mean, to be fair, like all the, I mean, just I want to get this out of the way. I do like all of their albums. I'm just kind of ranking them based on like which one I just don't really like which is the weakest. But yeah, Three of a Perfect Pair is definitely the weakest one in the '80s era in my book. So let's see what else. Starless and Bible Black. It's not a terrible album. I like songs like The Great Deceiver, for instance. That's a good song. And sadly, I don't know why I don't remember all the tracks on there, but let's see. Yeah, Lament. I remember Lament. That's actually pretty nice. And then that's really just about it with that one. I just kind of feel like it's a meh, but it's still listenable. Jeez, I think I'd probably put Construction of Light in C as well. Construction of Light is kind of a hit or is it really just a hit or miss with like a lot of the songs. I mean, there are four songs I really like, and if I can remember off the top of my head, there's Fracture, Into the Frying Pan, Lark's Tongues and Aspic Part 4, and Heaven and Earth. I don't remember the full name for Heaven and Earth, but I know those two things are in it. But those are really good songs in my opinion. Everything else is kind of a meh, but the song Coda, I Have a Dream, I was not a fan of at all personally. It's like as if you tried to mix Captain Beefheart's Trout Mask replica with with just with King, but it's King Crimson trying to replicate it, but it just doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. I was not a fan of that track. And I mean, I'll go back to the album, and if I'll probably go back to the album, but I'm most likely gonna skip that song. But the thing is, it's not even on Spotify. That's how I feel about Construction of Light. It's just a meh album. I'm gonna put Power to Believe in. Actually, no, not Power to Believe. Let's put In the Wake of Poseidon in B. That one. I mean, to be fair, it was their second one, so it's like it was still pretty early in their career. But I'm not. I wouldn't put it any higher because of the fact that they rehashed some of the same stuff that they still kind of did in their first album, which I mean is totally fine. But with a band like them that was extremely progressive, you would expect them to at least do something a little bit more different, which they did do on a few songs, but it generally still had the same sound as the first album. It's still a listenable track album, like Piece of Theme. You have Piece of Theme, the self-titled track, and Cat Food, and so those are just to name a few. But yeah, I would definitely listen to this again. I think I'll put Lizard at B. This one was probably like one of my favorite. What it's probably my second favorite of their '70s stuff. Actually, more like their third really, but because of the fact that they actually used they had some sort of classical influence in some of their songs, especially in their self-titled song. That's a 20 minute long song. That is a really good one to listen to. I would definitely recommend. I think I'll put Power to Believe in B tier. Power to Believe is a really good album. I really like it. But funny enough, I don't know why I don't remember any of the song names. I think it most likely is because of like the way the songs are, because it doesn't feel like each song is ending. It just kind of feels like it's synced up, but either that I just didn't really notice. I was just kind of zoned out from the music and everything. But I don't. But it's still a really good album. But yeah, there's that. I'll put Lark's Tongues and Aspic in A tier. I'd say. I definitely put those in and put that in A tier. It's a really good album. It was very different from what they did with Islands, like very different from Islands, which we will talk about in a second. They used a lot of I think it was West. From my memory, I remember they used some it had some influence in bringing European improvisation styles into prog rock and everything. They did a really good job with that. Lark's Tongues and Aspects Parts 1 and 2 are definitely great tracks. And if we want to look for any more songs, which I'm going to do right now, Easy Money is a really good one. I've even seen videos of them playing it live. It's really cool. Talking Drum, of course, Exiles. Honestly, all the tracks are great. It's if you real I mean, I will say the one thing holding it back though is that if it's not necessarily their most accessible album, I would say, because of the fact that their music is so I mean, for their standards, for that type of band, it's pretty unconventional. But I would definitely give it a listen if you're into that type of stuff like I am. So, yeah. I think I'm gonna put Islands in A as well. That's another good album. I mean, we have songs like "Ladies of the Road," "Song of the Goals," and then the self-titled song. The self-titled song be my favorite one. One of the things I really liked about King Crimson was the way they shifted from like really fast and bombastic music to just going to like the sweet and calm music. And Song of the Gulls is an example of that, I would say. But probably not as good as their first album, which we will talk about way later. But yeah, so it's good. But yeah, so anyway, what should we put in for what else should we put in for A? I think I'll put Beat in A tier, because to be fair, I mean I know it kind of goes against my criticism because it's about me with Three of a Perfect Pairs, just because with Beat was like this was practically was like kind of had the same genre as Discipline, which was like new wave type stuff, but they added a little bit something more to it. And I don't know, I feel like in that kind of sense, it was kind of poppy, but at the same time, it's actually pretty. It actually kind of worked out with their sound and everything. But and I also really like Tony Levin's stick playing as usual in a lot of the other works that he's done, like Three of a Perfect Pair, for instance. But yeah, so that's a good one too. I would definitely listen to that. Then we have, let's see, I think I'll put Discipline in A tier. And Discipline is a great album. We have like tracks like Elephant Talk, Frame by Frame, Thela Hunginji, the song Discipline. They did a really good job with it. I like their sound that they were going for, especially the fact that was the first time they introduced Chapman Stick into it, and also the first album with Tony Levin and Adrian Belew. And yeah, it was honestly a really good lineup. I was a huge fan of that lineup, especially. Now it comes down to two albums, In the Core of the Crimson King and Red. So I think the way I'm going to do it is the first thing I put in S tier will just register as my second favorite album. But let's see. You know what? I'll put Red in there for that. I'll put Red in S tier first. That's like my second favorite Crimson album now that I think of it, because it's a really good album with for the fact that they went really heavy on it compared to their other stuff. They especially with John Wetton's basses roaring with all that treble and stuff. Bill Bruford's bombastic drums, David Cross's instrumentation and use of the mellotron. It was really fucking cool. Like the way they did that was really cool. And as usual, just like I mentioned with their calm parts, they did a good job. The thing is I don't think it does. The reason why it's being held back is it does it, but it doesn't do it better than In the Core of the Crimson King. Now, I know that is a very, very unsurprising result there, considering how popular the album is. But yeah, it's pretty much true. It's a great album. Every song on there, 21st Century Schizoid Man, I Talk to the Wind, Epitaph, Moonchild, In the Court of the Crimson fucking King. Like that album was responsible for creating progressive rock, progressive metal. It was instrumental, literally, in in showing different types of combinations of genres. They did a lot of cool stuff with it. There you can find jazz and folk and rock in that album. It's a great fucking album. I highly recommend it to anyone. Funny enough, it's not only like my favorite King Crimson album of all time, but it's my favorite album of all time. It influenced me a lot in terms of my has influenced me a lot with my writing and with my approach to music. It made me think a lot more differently. It made me more analytical in a sense. Obviously, not to the point where I don't want to enjoy it or anything. I mean, I enjoyed listening to all of this thoroughly, really, but you know, that was my my King Crimson album tier list. If you guys happen to listen to King Crimson, you can give me your opinions on this. What you would have done differently, and yeah, I would be down to see that. So anyway, see ya.